Hello and welcome everyone to the War Thunder game. My name is RavenProDesign, and in today's video, well, I will start off by saying I'm very sorry guys, but I wasn't able to record any videos because the thing I went on the last weekend, I was sleeping under the tent and I did catch some, well, nasty cold. And the problem was, whenever I tried to record something on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, it ended up me coughing all over the video, and it was pretty much unlistenable or unwatchable, if you prefer. But today I'm start feeling a bit better, so I will try to make this video to the best of my abilities. And it won't be the usual mission video. It won't be anything like that today. Today I will go with my first video of the aircraft review and analysis. I will start off, as I did say, with the low tiers. I will start with the Russians because, well, most of you are asking, well, is those Russians are that good, or should I be flying them? Well, as you did probably see me a couple of times, I was playing the Russians, I was playing it on the reserve and tier 1, up to tier 1 lineups, and I ended up with the scores like 10 kills in the game, 11. So that will be answer to your question if this is worth it. But in general, I do think that whenever you're starting with the War Thunder, or you are an experienced pilot, or you want to just, well, mess around and fly around and have fun with it, go with the Russians. For the beginner pilot, they are so maneuverable, they do have very good turn time. Maybe they ain't that fast, but they are maneuverable. And that's what is this game all about in the beginning. Everyone who gets into this game will try to go for dogfighting, and not all nations are designed to be a good dogfighters, but the Russians are, and their choice of armaments and the choice of the bullets they do have for the aircrafts is making them a very good starting nations, just to get a good grip on the game and, well, see how well how can you do, what can you do in it. But let's go from some facts from the history right now. So the I-15, what do we see here is the I-15WR, I-15M22 and I-15R. Those are your first reserve aircrafts, and they were the first aircrafts in the game. Well, I'm not saying about the earlier construction, but they are first in the game. So the I-15 was the first. You get it first. You will see it first. It is a very interesting design because, well, by interesting I do mean it is Polish design. It was called the Puławski's wing. This design you can see in here, the specific flattened M design of the wing. It was created to increase the view of the pilot from the cockpit, and also, as you can see, the small mirrors in here. Oh, no, not the mirrors, the small windows in here, through which the pilot that was sitting here was able to see what's going on over here. Well, roughly over here. So we do have a very good wing design. What else was there new? Well, it was based on the Wright Cyclone engine from the USA, which the Russians then take and copy into their own engine M25, which was used through the I-15 base and the I-153, so for the Shaika. All of those aircrafts, all of the I-15s were designed by one guy, the Nikolai Polikarpov, which have a very rough history in the Soviet Russia. He was accused of some well, he was sentenced to death, but then he get out of it and he started to make those aircrafts in the Experimental Construction Bureau. That was it called. He designed the I-15 and the I-52 and the I-15 bis, which we do see here. It was added at the later stage of the game. I will believe it was like 1 or 2 patches ago, because first we did have access to only those 3 aircrafts, those I-15s, and after some time they did add the I-15 bis. What was the reason that the I-15 bis didn't went to the tier 1 aircraft and it did stay in the reserve? Well, the major thing was that they did go very high on the requirements on this plane compared to our normal I-15s over here. The main thing was to enhance the construction, increase the power of the engine, modifying the central wing. As you do see in here, it's a very different in design, because well, it's the straight wing with just supports going over in a couple of places, but actually it didn't make the military happy. And why is that? Well, the overall construction was, well, let's say it good. It did have a bigger pilot seat thingy, the cockpit. It was bigger, but the thing that the pilots didn't like was this windscreen. They did say it did reduce visibility, or well, it was reducing the visibility, but the main thing was that it was making it incorrect. So they were saying something, and as you can see, if you do look through it, it is in the round shape, so it wasn't that accurate, and the pilots were complaining about it. And also, getting back to the single wing design supported by the supports, make the overall visibility of this aircraft a bit lower than its predecessors, the I-15. Other problem was that the engine, while it was running, was shaking whole aircraft. And they also did say, and I don't imagine that they will implement something like that into the game, but the whole test pilots and whole military pilots did say that this aircraft was performing a bit slow-ish during the maneuvers. And the other thing you may notice when you do see the aircraft from the sides is that it's constructed from we can say 2 parts. The first is the Durasteel in the front of the aircraft, and the fabric and some plywood on the tail section. And there was a very little protection for the pilot, because well, as you can see, he is sitting in the fabric section, so it wasn't that well seen by the pilots that they didn't have any protection. As total, they only produced 2,400 pieces of this aircraft. And from the funny fact, I don't know if you notice, but besides the Soviet Russia, beside China, you know who else was using this aircraft? Spain. I was surprised by it. I didn't think that the Spanish government need to do something like that. But well, they did use it, and they were happy about it. But the next thing, the next aircraft in this beautiful line is our all-known Chaika, the I-153 M62 in game. It's one variant of this aircraft, so we might assume that we will see more of it in the near future. But as for Chaika and as for the changes, well, the major changes is the undercarriage. You can see here the wheels. They were retracted by manually, and you can imagine only how the pilot flying this aircraft have to crank the wheel to get this undercarriage up and down before he landed, and well, anyway, after the takeoff. But it was the manual thing. It wasn't the automatic thing. It wasn't the electronic thing like do we see today. What are the major changes between the I-15 base and his predecessor, the I-15s? Well, as you can see, the first thing you will notice, except for the wing, is the little propeller area here, the engine area here, which did change quite a bit. In the I-15 base, it was all covered. We do see this nose cone here covering all the important parts, and we do not see this cover in the Chaika. And why is that? Well, it wasn't performing very well. The pilots say, the test results say that it was messing up with the engine. And besides that, well, if someone is messing with your engine and it causing it to, well, cause you problems, you don't want to fly it. So they did remove it in the Chaika. Also, there is in the Chaika, well, in-game Chaika, you can see the changes that were made to the aircraft. It's still the same design. So in the front we do have the Durasteel. Back is made mainly of the fabric, but there are some elements here made of the Durasteel. So you can see that they did improve the design, and also the major improvement that all the pilots love was the seat. It was made out of the 9mm steel plate. It was the protection for the pilot, and they did like it because, well, if you don't get shot in the back, that's always something good. There were 3 versions of this engine. Of the M25, it was changed the name to M25M. It did have 3 different variants. The first one, the M25M, did have 552 horsepower. The second version, the M62, were going up to 786, with the M63 being the strongest version, and it did have the power of 810, well, almost 810 horsepower. But you do want to know that the next version of the I-153, made by the Polikarpov in the 1940, was the I-185. It was the, well, I would say it did end his life on the prototype, but it was faster than all of the present German aircraft at that time, but it never went to the serial production. So Mr. Polikarpov, you did a very fine job in designing the aircrafts. It was used by all the same countries, so we have the Soviet Russia, we have the China, and we have the Finland. That's the change. That's the change. Spain didn't want to go with the Chaikas anymore, so they did send some of them to Finland. Okay, enough of this history, because, well, I know it's boring, because it's history. and not all of us do like the history. And you want to ask me the question, well, what can you do with those aircrafts in the game? Well, if you do look on my channel, you will see some amazingly good games with the Chaikas, with all the reserve, the tier 1 aircrafts from the Russian tech tree. I won't be showing you the game today. I will try to record one though for you for later. I believe I will release it on a Sunday, but I'm not guaranteeing it. But as for the equipment and the things to go for, well, of course, all the flight performance upgrades you do want to install in your aircrafts. And as you did see my video that I did release on the Sunday, the reserve make fun or the chill out, you can see there is a very good situation of me outturning other I-15. I don't remember which version was it, but I was able to outturn it, and I was able to, well, do damage to him. He did a mistake, but by going after someone else, because he did see he cannot outturn me. But it's a very good example, as you did see. He did came behind me. I did start to turn immediately, and after, I don't know what was it, 1 or 2 laps, I was starting to get behind him. So it was something good. As for the other equipment, well, to use the bombs or the rockets or not to use them, well, that's the question. I personally never goes for the bombs, and I want to explain why. Most of the battles on the tier 1 and reserve, they are not the games to, well, the ground strike missions. Most of them is just one side killing the other, and that's the end of the game. That's why placing any bombs under your wings or placing rockets, well, actually rockets might be a good idea if you do see a tier 3 Catalina, or if you do see some tier 3 heavy bombers like H6K or something like that, something heavier. Then you can chew with your MGs. But going for your bombs, well, that's totally up to you. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's worth it. It's worth reducing the aircraft performance for some extra points in the ground targets, especially as you are a fighter. You won't get any extra credit for getting these ground kills. Now, for the ammunition you can use, well, we have our default ammunition. Well, it's okay ammunition. I don't say it's the best or the worst. Then we have our universal, and I would definitely go, if you can change it. I don't remember how it's working right now, how the bells are working right now, what upgrade you have to have before you can go through all of those. But despite the fact that I did say it in my best shell rack for each nation video, that the stealth ammunition is the best, I do believe that, well, the tracer ammunition right now for the Russians, I do believe it's a slightly bit better than the stealth ammunition, because, well, we don't have this split between the API times 3 and then adjustment incendiary bullet. We have our APIT ammunition all over our belt. So we will see where the shots are going. We will see if they are hitting or not. And I'm not talking about the hit indicator or the big sign in the bottom of the screen. Oh, you score a hit. And as for their properties, they are armor piercing, incendiary. So that's the best combination you can get for anything. You are shooting, you are penetrating, you are damaging the fuel tank of the enemy, and you are setting it on fire. What do you want more? well, couple of cannons, I believe. So, the I-15 series made by Nikolai Polikarpov, I do give it them a big plus from me. They are as much fun for the beginner pilots in the War Thunder, as well as some more experienced one, as well as some veterans. I was talking the other day with a friend of mine, and he did tell me, well, he is almost rank 20 in every nation. He's well, he's only missing the Brits. He's on tier 19 in the British tech tree, but he, despite the fact he's all tier 20s, all level 20s, all the trees are maxed out for him, he do still find it very fun and amusing to go into the reserve battle, reserve aircrafts, and play those little fun games where you don't get your base bomb by some year 2s or the B-17s. You don't get to lose because, well, you were rammed or you were, well, anything. Any of the common reasons right now there is to not play the high tiers. Oh, sorry about that. In the reserve and tier 1s, you are playing for fun, and it doesn't cost you a penny to do it. You can only earn money. And by earning money, so we did talk about the loadout we get talk about the weapons, and also there was some change, and was brought to my attention just recently, because there was some change into the crew skills window. We do have our pilot, it doesn't change. We have our gunners, it didn't change. But then we have our ground service, and here's the change. The weapon maintenance, that would change. It's not the healing anymore. It was the healing speed or something like that it was called. Right now it's the weapon maintenance. And what does it do? Well, as we can read, the armor skill increased the efficiency of aircraft weaponry, reducing the overheating speed of the primary weapons, as well as spread of the bombs and rockets. So by increasing this skill, this weapon maintenance, you are making that your machine guns or cannons will overheat less. That's good. That's always a good thing. So that means you can put up more shots onto your enemy before you have to stop, either for letting your guns cool or because, well, you jam them. And also the spread of bombs. That's a very good thing. I didn't notice any change in the bomb when I was bombing the other day. I didn't change any major change with the spread of my bombs, because, well, if the bomb was on target, it did hit the target. I'm not that experienced with the rockets, so I cannot tell you anything about the rockets. But the weapon maintenance is the thing to go for right now. So we don't have any changes in the pilots, in the gunners, but the major change is in the ground service. And we should all check that out and, well, increase it at some points if we haven't already. I do have some crews that are maxed out already, so their weapon maintenance is okay. But getting back to our I-15s, well, guys, I-15s are very good choice for the beginners as well for some experienced pilots. If you are having trouble adjusting yourself to the War Thunder, remember you can always go lower, play some reserve and tier 1 games just to chill out, just to take a perspective. And remember, that's only a game. It's nothing more, it's nothing less, it's just a game. It's supposed to give you fun watching it and playing it. But guys, that would be it for today. As for some better news, I am preparing the giveaway, or the little tournament of mine that I will be hosting, I believe sometimes in the next month, because I do have to have all of all my preparations up and running, I can tell you that the prices will be, because of the War Thunder going to the Steam, I am able right now to give away, to use some gold in terms of the Steam gifts. And I do believe most of us do have that Steam. If you don't, well, it's free. You can install it. You can install the War Thunder through it, and you can go with the, and you can receive those gifts. Right now, I am in the middle of the preparing the whole thing, because well, it will be surprising for you what I can think of, and maybe, just maybe, it in this 1 month time, I will be able to well, the Ganjin will be able to repair the replay system, so I can do some replay contests. But let's not get ahead of ourselves right now. Let's focus on the game. Let's focus on ending this video, Iron. So guys, I would like to thank you all for joining me today. I would like to thank you all for tuning in for today. And I do hope to see you all next time. But until then, Iron Rifle out.